So I just want to show you a quick tutorial on these little wire wrapped rings. So you're going to need wire. I use Parawire. I do recommend 18. You can use 20, but 18's thicker and will be a bit sturdier to work with. But when you're first learning, maybe start off with 20 because it's easier to kind of wrap around. It's smaller, or thinner. Yeah, the thickness of it is different. So I use about 14 inches of wire, 14 to 16, depends on how many wraps, like right here, you want. So we have this is labradorite on a 14-inch wire. You're gonna need little cutters for cutting the wire. I know people have said they've used scissors. I've never used scissors. You can get these really cheap, craft store, online. And I use these little flat nose. I use a ring mandrel because I make rings to sell. So there are tutorials on other places that I've seen where they just use like a marker. But if you're gonna be selling rings, making these to sell, or give to your friends, or give away, whatever, friends, family, or you want to make different sizes, this is best. So it's sizes 4 through 10. I get my bead. This is labradorite, if I haven't said that already. And this is an 8mm. I do recommend doing 8 or 10. I believe this is a 10. Yeah, you can tell. This is a 10. You can use 6 if you want a smaller, but I don't really recommend anything smaller than a 6. So 8's a good little happy medium there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pliers, grab the wire right next to where it comes out of the bead, and I'm going to kind of bend it on each side. So it looks like that. Maybe get this one a little higher. And so you have it like that, okay? Then I kind of slide my ring mandrel in here. And I'm going to do a size 8, since about my ring size. So I put the bead on the 8, kind of push it down. And the reason that I do this is so, for one, the bead doesn't slide, and I notice I get less sliding on this if I do that. So I have this here, kind of hold it down, and also that way I'll show you when it happens, but when you wrap the wire, it's more even of a wrap. I've had ones, as you can tell, even on this one, where you can see, and you want to typically hide that right there. I mean, it happens. I don't care. People still like the way it looks, but sometimes I struggle with perfectionism. So you want to wrap it around, come up, wrap it around, come up. So they're going to be crusty, like this. This is what the back should look like. Okay. So then, try to pull them, or kind of tighten them. So then here, you're gonna wrap it around. Excuse my hand. Wrap it around. Okay, now, mine always kind of come out looking like that. But then they kind of move as you wrap it. So then I kind of go above that bottom wire and wrap it around. And that's how you kind of want to hide those wires coming out the side. So I always choose one side to do my main pretty, the one that's going to be the visual that you're seeing around. Okay. And then I kind of keep it to the side, how much of the bead you want to see. And then the other one, I wrap around just for some filler wire. See? So like that, you can still adjust it. So they're gonna go one on this side, one on this side. So I wanna make sure that it's on the 8. Okay, so Then we are going to start pulling this through like that. So again, you can grab this to grip it carefully because it can nick. Because this is essentially copper. I don't know if you can see. Copper wire on the inside, and the outside color is different because copper is a little bit more flexible also. You can use other wiring, but most wire like this has copper in the middle. Okay, so one thing you want to do, okay, so you just want to wrap it around. Wrap it around. Now I do this because it's easier on my hands. But see how it's kind of, so we can again get our pliers, squish them together. Squish your stuff together. So, now, one thing when you're doing this, occasionally, get your ring mandrel, put it back on, make sure it's staying at the size that you made it. Because when you pull this wire, it's pulling all this other wire in it. I've done it a million times, but it's okay because I make all different sizes. I'll start out with a 9 and I end up with a 6. Because I'm not really paying attention, I'm pulling the wire too tight, and then it ends up shrinking the ring size. So, now we go to this side and pull this through. Again, I do this because I make these all the time. If I do it with just my fingers, my hands hurt too much. So, so see how this is moving? So, what you want to do is kind of loosen that. Now again, this wire is pretty forgiving. So you can just grab this. Hold on, let me see. And this is good because then you can see what to do if you mess up. And again, this takes practice. I have been doing this for a while and I still mess up. It's just how it is. Especially with the thicker wire. That's why I recommend, though, if you're starting out, do the 20, because I started out doing 18 and still it gives me issues to this day because it's just one of those things. But the 20 is easier to work with because it's not as thick. See? So then we just kind of fix that there. Go back to wrapping. So what I did is I kind of moved it lower. It's not so high up. I hope I'm making sense. The wire was up here, and I just kind of wrapped it so it came down here. Then wrap it. So this one I'm just gonna do like 3. I'm gonna cut this. So I cut these little tidbits off. I'm just gonna do 3 little wraps around, because that's what. Now, if you want to do more wraps, I recommend doing 20 inches of wire. You can wrap. Sometimes I wrap them halfway down. That one you're gonna need more wire for. And it always depends too on the size of the ring you're doing, but I recommend at least 20 inches. So, this has this little end here. So I get my pliers and I kind of just pull them down, flip the ring around, get this end, and I squish it down gently. And same with this end. And you just want to actually cut a little bit of that more off so that it's right there. Now, one thing I do, so you kind of want to get it right there, squish it, fill it. Now this side, this is what I do. I rub my rings in and out, I rub them around my finger, because you do not want, especially if you're giving these to people or selling these, so you gotta flatten that so that it's not sticking out. You don't want them to scratch people's fingers. Last thing I do is I put this back on the ring mandrel, and I pull it because it got a little bit tighter, and and I make sure it's still a size 8 right there, size 8. And if not, the ring's for someone else if it doesn't fit you. So then I take this off. That's the final little ring. And if it's a little tight on that one, but probably this one. Okay, I guess I'm more of a size 9 finger, but whatever. But yeah, there you go. And that's for the day. Yeah, well, I hope you liked it, and let me know if you want to see more ring or jewelry tutorials. There you go. Thanks for watching. As I say, like and subscribe.